Hey, welcome to the channel. I bought a 1.5 acre parcel up in the Modoc Recreational Estates in Alturas, California. And I wanted to record this, and I'm going to have to do some narration because for some reason I didn't get any sound. So I'm going to take you on a tour of what it looks like up there. Now, I'm driving a 2022 Thor Sprinter. This is a 6-cylinder diesel. Uh, does go into 4-wheel drive. I do have some really nice BF Goodrich tires on there. I've taken this van to Montana, driven in the snow conditions there, not even ever putting it in 4-wheel drive. So as we go along, we're now locating the property. And you can see that there are some homes along the way. It's pretty treed. It's actually quite beautiful. One of the things that I was very interested in this property because the backside where I purchased the land borders the Modoc National Forest, which is open to all kinds of things: hunting, camping, dispersed camping, hiking, biking, just a lot of recreation out there. The first section we get to here, we're in pave. The pave is fine. I mean, it's, a well-used road, but there are several people that live out here. This establishment was, by the paperwork I could see, this Modoc Recreational Estates, or MRE as they call it, was established in 1964, and it requires that you have a septic to build and live on the property. It does allow for camping, just not living there full time. And part of your HOA fees is to cover the road maintenance. And so I was kind of happy about that. It's going to a property where there's at least some sort of road maintenance. And we're still on some nice, easy paved streets. Trying to remember where we're at right now, but we're going to turn off into where it starts getting no pavement, but it's a, good dirt road. Still pretty good. The area we're heading to is, if you can see the hill in front of us, we're going to be up there on the top part. There's power. Most of these lots are 1.5 acres. Some are a little bit bigger. If you get something flat, where mine's a little bit more expensive, but they're still pretty cheap. Now look, we're kind of slowing down here, and it's really hard to see in the video, but what we're looking at is some really deep ruts and mud. So at this point, we decided to go ahead and give it a shot, and I did put the van into 4-wheel drive. And since I did lose the audio with this, we were swaying around pretty good. Now my GoPro does have the um where it doesn't shake as much in the video, but I felt like we were rocking and rolling and stuff was just flying all over the van. These ruts were anywhere from 4 inches to 12 inches. They were a little bit smaller in this section. I'm coming up to this really bad part where I kind of had to gun it to get through because I was sliding all over the place. And I grew up driving in Montana in snow and doing some 4x4 activities. This is a little bit, I did not really expect these type of road conditions, especially since, they collect, money to maintain the roads. As we're going along, it's drivable. I mean, we're getting there. We passed one property that was just on the right, and they had, I think, about 4 trailers out there, and it looked pretty trashed, so with a big fence saying "Keep out." This motor home was sitting there. It didn't look like it'd been used much. Um, one of the ladies down in the store stopped and talked to about septic, she said that they do get quite a bit of people up here that start stealing things. This fifth wheel is pretty trash. The door's off. It's been painted. It looks like it's just sitting there. I'm not sure if the association is aware of it or not. So we're making a steady climb. Again, it's still drivable. I think I was doing, less than 10 miles. And if I didn't have the steadiness on my GoPro, I think it would have looked a lot worse because I felt like we were just rocking back and forth, trying to stay in either good tracks, or got up in some little flat areas. This section's a little bit better as we're going along. This is mid-February in California. It was partially snowed on the way down there, and the temperature right now, the time of day we're there, I'm gonna say it was probably around it's above freezing, but at night it was getting, below freezing. So it's probably about 36, 38 degrees. And I'm not sure if this would have been easier to travel if it had been frozen or not. I was kind of disappointed. There's a bunch of trash left over here on this side, but it's still pretty ruddy. It was all the way up to my running boards. And I haven't measured them, but some of these, it was a good 12 inches of just sheer mud and ruts. I honestly am not sure the last time that this road was actually maintained. When I bought this property, I was told that, the roads were maintained. So I did place a call to the association, and she'd called me back today. So this was about 2 weeks ago. I called and left a message. She called me back. Very nice lady, and she says, I'm just going to be honest with you. That area is really not drivable during the wintertime, and we don't do anything to it. And she goes, we haven't done anything to it in years. Now we have a fork, but the directions were telling us to go to the right. And then when we got up here, it was worse, and the road was so narrow, could barely see up it, and then there was just ditches on the side, and I was thinking, "Oh my gosh, if we have to go up this way, we're not gonna do it." So, chose to turn around and go back down, which is what you're looking at. So I'm gonna go back to the association. So what she said to me was that they don't have enough money. They collect $36 a year, which I don't know how long they've been doing that, but honestly, I would be okay paying more money to get the roads maintained, and I'm sure that other people up here would probably do that. It's not, a big deal to get it up to, I think most associations up $36 a year. That is nothing. I was surprised they could even maintain the roads on that. I'm like, $100 a year, that should be fine for them to go in and just, take a tractor and just, grade it. Even once or twice a year, right before it snows and gets all crappy. And then, maybe in the spring after it's kind of, just go out and do all the roads. That would more feasible. She said that they're working on getting prices. She told me that something happened, and she didn't get into much detail, and the old board is gone, and they have a brand new board in there, and they've been left with this mess. And it sounds like they're trying to really do some stuff to make this a little bit better. She said they are voting on raising the prices. They need to get up to $50 a year, which is very reasonable. I mean, like I said, $100 a year I think would be reasonable if you maintain the roads. They also have this really nice park. easy to get to. It was beautiful with a lake, and you can actually camp there for up to 5 days, and they have bathrooms and showers. It's just a beautiful place. The property is gorgeous, and with the mere fact that this surrounds BLM land and the national forest, it was, worth it to me to, have this type of recreational property. I do like to bird hunt, and my dogs like to go out and scent up rabbits. And I've even considered doing a pig hunt, and apparently this area is really good for that. Plus deer, but I don't hunt deer. This area also boasts a herd of wild horses, and it's within walking distance of the back of the property where we have the acre and a half. There is, let's see, it was 730 yards. There is a natural spring, and there's more out there. And then there's a couple of reservoir really close to the property, along with other creeks, and then a major reservoir within a couple of miles. So if you're an outdoor enthusiast, I mean, this is a great place to be in Northern California. Just the pine, the sunny skies, didn't mind the snow. So I talked more with the lady from the MRE, and it sounds like they're really going to try to do some things different. I talked to them about maybe doing some Zoom meetings, and I got set up on the mailing list. I think places like these are great. I'm not always a fan of HOAs, but you know, a little cleanup, not a whole ton of rules, but just some stuff that's, you know, you never want the property you own to be super micromanaged and you have a ton of rules. That's not what I was looking for. So I like what they have in place now. Um, I'm looking forward to actually being able to see this property at some point other than on my map. It might be several more months because it's going to have to dry before I go back up there again. It's about 8 hours from my house, so it's not that big of a deal. Since we couldn't stay on the property, we had planned to, just sort of disperse, camp up there in the van, um, kind of get the lay of the land and, do some biking and stuff. What we did is we went to Reno, Nevada, which is 3 hours away, which is, fine. A little drive back through this part of Northern California is relatively small. Modoc County, I think there's maybe 5,000 people throughout the county. Um, so it's definitely rural, which I like. But when rural comes, there's all the other considerations. I did talk to I talked to the lady that where they do septic and well drilling, and she said that they don't think that up on the flats they can do any septic at all because she said it's rock. So I have to go back and check with her or call her and give her the property address. But my guess is it's not going to be a buildable lot really ever if you can't put a septic. I'm not sure if the county would allow for some sort of exemption where you just tanked in water and you had, some form of septic disposal. I'm not sure what they do in these situations. It's more something I'm gonna have to talk to them about. It'd be nice to have a little not a house up there, but maybe like a barn door medium or a good sized shed where you could, have make a tiny house out of it and fence it and make that a real nice spot to come to. Um, what else did I look at? There, you can see there's power poles down here. Um, I think they pretty much stopped at that fork in the road that I came up to. I'd have to look more. We had no cell service up there, but there was a cell tower in the area, so I needed to look to find out what carrier is in this area that would run on that particular cell. So we're still looking at coming down from this. Okay, there's my next view. The next day after we were done with Reno, we decided to go and check out all the other properties that were for sale. And so we were going. If you see that hill up there, that's on the map BLM land. So right behind it, there was a pretty mostly level piece of property with that mountain view behind it. I thought, well, that was gorgeous. But there's a it showed on the map that a creek ran through here, and this is a seasonal creek. And we stopped and we ended up staying here because you can see that pile of mud in front of you. Well, the creek, I had to get out and go take a look. And unfortunately, they have two pieces of cement that was meant for some sort of a cross it. The creek was only maybe a couple feet deep, so it wasn't that big of a deal. However, the angle on the cement was about a 45-degree angle. I'm in my Sprinter van, but I had a something on the tailgate. So I have a tailgate rack back there with an extension so I can move it off to the side when I need to access the back doors. And inside the box is just other things that I keep, um, like cords and, you know, levelers and things so I could free up some room inside. So there wasn't any way that we were going to make that crossing unless I took all the stuff off the back to get over there. And then, of course, I found another way later that I could have checked out the property, but I'm not sure how the roads were. So this section, you can see the road is pretty muddy, but because there are houses in the area and all the way through this, it was still very drivable. Um, and that's what the lady at the estates had told me. She says they really basically maintain the roads and priority where people have residence. And I understand that. I do. I totally understand that. But for me, I, bought the property and I'll be paying the fees. So, I don't think it's nothing out of the year to maybe twice, nothing to ask. Yeah, raise those fees, everybody pay more and get those roads at least graded, once or twice a year. Especially after the snow and people, 4 buying up there because it was just not worth trying to go up there and get stuck. Um, so we passed several residents. We actually found another piece of property that was for sale. It was a nice corner lot. It already had a shed on it. They had a big for sale sign, and there was no cell signal here, so I just took down the number, but I backed up to get the phone number and stuff. Again, this is just beautiful, beautiful land out here. Forest fire wise, I don't know. I didn't see any signs of any of that. It doesn't mean that it can't happen. That's also a consideration when you buy, property, especially in a drier climate, because this is an arid region and there are a lot of pine trees, juniper and sagebrush, but it's also during they do get all 4 seasons here, and their summer is fairly, it can be warm. She says it can be anywhere from this the lady down at the store, she said, we've had the coldest I've been, she said, -25 and, 115. It can get, average is gonna be upper 90s, low 100s for summertime. I did talk to her about the rattlesnakes because that is always a concern for me because I have little dogs that like to chase such things. And she said typically they really don't come out until it's really hot. And some years are better than others. You may see one, maybe two, and the next year you could see 10. So during this time of year, it's not really a concern. They stay down hibernated. Um, when I did the research on this particular uh, place, I looked into everything that I could find, and For people looking for rural properties, you can find those sites where they have them relatively cheap. Of course, they jack up the price a little bit more and let you do payment options if you want. Um, so this is my research into a lot of this. It was I do the Onyx maps, and they're not a sponsor of mine, but I've been using them for years when I look at properties, especially terrain, and I can turn on my 3D and see what it is that I'm getting into. I want to look at the surrounding area. I want to make sure that it's at least sort of drivable, because why would you buy a piece of property that you cannot access? I get it. You live up in Alaska, you want to take the snowmobile, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. For me, I do want to take my van up, or I want to be able to bring the camping gear, and I don't want to haul it in 4x4. And I think that is great for the people that like to do it. And I was 30 years younger, I'd be all for it. But, this is what happens when you get a little bit older. You stick to the van, or, well, some people don't even do this, and, when you get older. But, so I researched that. I go to the county, I look at their assessor site. I want to see what these properties are pricing at, what any information I can find. I recently looked at another piece of property that has a wetland designation, and I went out there and I'm like, this is not even buildable. I mean, it's like you can buy this lot, now you own this property, and you're basically paying taxes for the ducks, which is fine too. But if I can't bring my RV to it and just enjoy a little piece of it and watch the ducks, then I don't know that I want to pay any money for it. Um, where else do I go? So I look at Google Earth too. The problem with these satellites, they're not updated for years, so you're not exactly sure what properties are around there. But I've looked at some properties that look like a great deal, and then you find it's out in the middle, and there's dirt roads to it, sort of ish, but it's to the neighbor. And then unless you have an easement and there's no road to it and you're landlocked by everybody else, you're not going to get to that property. So make sure you're checking that out. That's what I like about the Onyx Hunt map, is it tells me whose piece of property am I standing on. I can go up and pull up latitude and longitude and get a really good overview view of the area, what's in the area for hunting, and I can take that information and go to the city or the county or the state. Um, this is something I'd been thinking about for a while, is buying another, just a piece of recreational property that I can go out and get away and explore somewhere else. Take a, drive and have a little, vacation. Our whole trip from Washington down, up and back, with diesel and food, we were gone for about a week, was just around $700. So not too shabby for a week on the road. We bought some meals, had some fun, and brought food with us, and just sort of disperse camp. But it was pretty decent, even being wintertime. It would be cold at night, but this is pretty pretty cool way to do it. There's people that do it full time, and you know, I I think that's wonderful. I wish I could go out full time on the road, but there's that job, that pays for everything. Um, this was kind of cool. We got around to this turn up here, and they had actually placed gravel, and there's some more properties, and it made me wonder, because this is the first road that I found that had gravel on it and snow. Now, we were going to look at another piece of property that's a little bit further from here. We ended up at the top of the hill, and it was pretty slushy and muddy and ice and snow. So there was a combination of, and we looked at it, and I was like, no, we're not going. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I know there wasn't a lot to look at, but for those that are wanting to be on the MRE, um, this is I haven't seen much about this estates, and quite quite honestly, I really like it. I mean, the downside is the roads in some areas, and I'm hoping that with this new board coming in, they'll get that fixed. I'm optimistic about it. I'm looking forward to being out here, and it's all in all a good thing. So if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. It will certainly help out the channel. I am hoping to get to that magical number at some point. So anyway, drop me a line. If you have any other questions I can answer, please let me know. And again, thanks for watching. I appreciate everybody out there. Please have a blessed day. Take care.